choices to live in certain places. I visited Florida and I said, I can handle this for a while. You know, it's been wonderful, and I think animation is a very special business that way, in that you can expect to travel, and if you want to travel, there are travel opportunities. There's actually China is a huge market that's opening up. India is a huge market that's exploding. You know,
both China and India have way more. They have more customers in terms of their film. Their film industries are larger than the Western culture. I mean, even when you lump in America, Canada, and Europe, it's still larger. Like the Indian film industry is the largest in the world, and China probably would be if the government promoted. Yes, it will be, because just the sheer number of people. So I'd like to say that particularly in this type of area, I think if you want to stay and not leave, this is where supporting each other and forming networks and forming companies, that's what you need to do to stay. You know, you're working more independently, more remotely, you know, maybe working with a studio that's established somewhere that's not local to you, and you're just working via the internet. And I recommend that people do that. It's a new business model, so when you try it, you may fail. You need to be prepared for that. You know, not everybody's going to succeed, and that's true even if you're working at a studio. You can work at the most wonderful studio in the world. They're great today, and then tomorrow they're gone. It's the nature of the industry.
Fran, actually from the West Coast, has worked with East Coast companies and companies in Europe.
Well, actually, kind of. I mean, I worked for Disney, and we had an office in France, in Paris. And right now I'm working in R&H. We have offices in Mumbai and Hyderabad and Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia.
That advice about connecting with each other and establishing your own network.
That comes from when I was at Leica. So I moved to Portland, Oregon, and I was working at Leica. And part of the problem that we had as a company was hiring good people, because people would need to leave LA or wherever they were at. There's some areas that are animation hubs, like Vancouver, BC, London. There's a bunch of studios in Australia, various places, and Los Angeles. You know, those are kind of four of the major places that are well established. And you know, places in India like Mumbai, you know, Bombay. I mean, that's Bollywood. It's very established, but they're not big on special effects or animation yet. They're a lot like LA was in the 90s, but I think they'll come up much faster.
Well, we've got a few minutes left. I'd like to throw this open to the room. If anyone has any questions for our panel, we've got, as I say, quite an impressive amount of experience right here. Anyone have any questions? Students, instructors?
I have a question.
Sure.
Just in regards to the recession and you know, maybe I was just kind of wondering if, because it might be cheaper to do stuff in Canada, does that mean there may be an increase in animation in Canada? As opposed to
I think that's what Vancouver's had.
Yeah.
Is that what?
That is. I mean, but how many studios will survive and thrive in the next 5 years? I mean, probably a lot of people are going to spin up. It's an issue with the industry, because even in California, like we had Image Mover Digital spin up, they sucked in a lot of great people, and then 2-3 years later, gone. They just dissolved the studio. And that happens. And I don't know why people do that, because it's so expensive to start up a studio.
Well, except in a lot of cases in Canada, you're bypassing the starting costs, because you've got provinces or governments who are going to essentially fund that kind of thing. There's business being done at a level that's just a whole other place. And here in Canada, it's been tax credits. We're seeing like in Toronto, where you've got these government, and to be fair, what you see in the media is very different from what the reality is. You've got Ubisoft going to Toronto and being given $400 million or whatever it is, how many by the Ontario government. Well, they're not just being written a check. It's not as simple as that. They have to provide X number of jobs by X number of deadlines, or they're on the hook to pay all that back. Stars in Toronto, same kind of thing. They got about $25 million to set up there, but they get that in increments, and they have to make sure they maintain X number of jobs in here in Ontario, here in Canada. So there's a lot of qualifications, but I mean, Pixar is in Vancouver right now because BC made it so attractive for them to come there that they couldn't say no. And I mean, the thing is,
They already have an office in Seattle.
yeah. Well, the thing is, and then we saw Disney in Toronto and Vancouver years ago. Well, the provinces made it so attractive they set up, and when it was no longer attractive, they were not there anymore. And that's okay. That's just the reality of it. And the same will happen with Pixar probably when it's no longer cost effective for them to be there. They won't. However, in this period of time where they are there, a ton of people are going to get to work on some really great stuff and build experience and resume they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So it's building an industry in Vancouver that will still be there when Pixar leaves. So much of this is dependent upon tax credits or upon the things that we don't really seem to have a lot of a grasp on here. In the States right now, I mean, I was contacted by Variety to ask about tax credits in Canada because California's looking at it now as a way of bringing production back to California.
Yeah.
New Jersey, Blue Sky moved from New York City to New Jersey because New Jersey got in on a tax credit situation. They make it so attractive to set it up that you just can't say no. So there's stuff happening at a level that we don't generally think of because we just want to draw pictures. But that affects you. That affects what desk you're going to be sitting at. And we're talking about as far as moving around. You guys have choices to make. And I'm talking mostly, I mean, I know we're a mixed audience here, but there's a lot of students here. You guys have choices to make at this stage. You can go out and you can learn your craft in some very experienced places and go and find that. You can come back with that skill later on. You can stay here and you can build an industry. I mean, with the communications technology being what it is today, the way you can move a brand, a personal brand in today's world is unprecedented. And quite frankly, I mean, the guys in Toronto, the guys in Vancouver, whatever, they're learning how to apply for money. That's really what they're doing so they can make their feature films, so they can make their series. There's no reason why you can't learn that too. The CMF, right now, the first year of the new funding programs, it's a great time to talk to these people. They want to talk to you.
And could you maybe explain CMF?
Okay, I'm not an expert.
Go ahead and
Okay,
start.
here. Okay, so the Canadian Media Fund, I'm speaking from the broadcaster point of view, is they give us an envelope every year. So this year, I don't know how much it is. It might be 15 million or something like that. And we have to, Teletoon has to give the same amount of money as the CMF will give to the producer to finance their show. So our minimum threshold, I believe, is 25%. I'm going to say this more in my presentation, so if you're going to be there tomorrow while I'm repeating myself. But anyway, so they give us this money to fund shows. However, for this region, it is profitable for Teletoon to have regional productions because I think in that case, we have to give less money and CMF gives more, and it helps us with our envelope for the next year. Complicated stuff, but if you have more questions on that, I will try to, am I right?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit complicated in my
There's a broader set of, the CMF has sort of 3 areas where they fund. They've got traditional like for broadcasters. They've got a new experimental one this year because the technology changing so quickly. They don't really have a box. They don't want to put things into
That's
a
an
box.
interesting one as
Yeah,
well.
it is. And if you've got a feature film, like I quite frankly, I mean, I've been hearing this from more and more people. I think there's a new market for feature films that's evolving. Lower budget feature films. You can now get. I mean, the fact that Secret of the Kells was up for an Academy Award last year is huge. It's huge. You can put a production together for $8 million today instead of for 30, 40, 50 million dollars. It only has to make that 8 back. There are still some things that are keeping that from happening. Like we don't see people from Lionsgate, who are a distributor in Vancouver, who are also in LA, who do a ton of big movies. Why they're not out at the festivals looking at who the new emerging directors are in short films? I think that's a hole in our whole system. It happens in live action, where you see people out there scouting for who the next directors are going to be. It doesn't really happen in live action the same way. And that's the kind of, I try to go and find these people and say, why are you not at the Ottawa International Animation Festival or any of these events where you're going to see new films? There is an emerging feature market that you guys could take advantage of.
Here's a question, if I may jump in. Often artists are not so good at business. And I think you can say that's a generalization. Anybody agree with me on that?
think it's a fair generalization. Sure.
Well, I think if you're spending your time on your business, you may not be spending your time on art. How much time does John Lasseter spend animating these days?
Good point.
And the same is true with Walt Disney. He started as an animator. That is why he started an animation company. He liked to animate.
Yeah, a friend of mine in Toronto break up and formed a company, Lightbox, and became so popular, he was at meetings all day. So what he tried to do was stay up all night and animate. Well, it kind of did things to his head and because he just wasn't getting any sleep. In that case, he packed it all in and went to work with Chuck Jones for a year. So it's a very hard combination to have, is the business. Would you have any advice for an artist who needs to have some know-how of business?
Find a good friend who likes business.
I think so.
I would recommend that anybody take one small business college
Yes.
course. Just take one. I mean, when I started up my side, I ended up in the self-employment benefits program to do so. Got a little money from the Ontario government, but part of that is that they train you to run and operate a small business. And I apply that now, exactly what they taught me, to my business animation class at Roosevelt College. Everybody coming out of here is likely going to be a freelancer. So you need to know how to run your own business and take that one college credit.
And you can do things like sell your art over the web.